All right, Councilor Carter. All right. I'm going to call the City of Groton Committee of the Whole for Monday, 28 December 2020 to order. The roll call. The mayor's here, Deputy Mayor Depot, Councilor Stanford, Councilor Sheffield, Councilor Carter, and Councilor Ortiz are on. Councilor Ortiz is on the phone here, is called in on my phone. So we have that. The referrals will start out with referral number 1, and it's appointments. The Eric J. for Eastern Point Historic District. This is there's a vacancy, and we're basically going to move him up into the permanent position. And you have his application and his resume that was sent to you, and he just happens to be here tonight if you want to talk to him. So council, what's your desire? Deputy Mayor Depot.
Just not necessarily a question for Mr. J, but so was he an alternate member before?
Yes.
So does that mean?
Oh, no?
No, this is new.
Okay, so no.
Yeah, I would close.
Oh, he's, go ahead. You know what, Eric, go ahead and give us some background and why you're interested in this.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong resident of Connecticut, Northern Connecticut, until I graduated from college. I came down to work at EB in 1980 as an engineer. I lived in Mystic at that point. I've lived in Mystic since. I have a bachelor's degree in engineering from University of Hartford and a MBA from Rensselaer. And I am now retired, and I would like to spend at least some of my time giving back to the community a little bit here and supporting this commission. I live here. I'm right in the center of the historical commission, the district rather. I know most of the members, and I would like to support them.
Okay, questions or comments for Eric? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting of January 4th, 2021.
Mr. Mayor,
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry.
one quick correction. It's an alternate position. It's not a regular position.
So it's the alternate position. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't, my notes were not up to snuff. My apologies.
Sorry.
So it's an alternate position. It's a new position for him. He has not been on the historic district commission. Any other comments from the council? Deputy Mayor Depot.
I just want to say thank you for offering. It's sometimes hard to fill these positions on the boards and commissions. Obviously, the historic district, we only have a limited pool to pull from because you have to live in the district to serve. So I know that we all appreciate everyone that serves on the boards and commissions, and would encourage anyone who's interested in there's usually something for everyone. So whatever kind of thing they're interested in, we can find somewhere to put them if they are willing to volunteer. So thank you, Mr. J, for volunteering.
Anyone else? Okay, I need a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting of January 4th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Deputy Mayor Depot and a second from Councilor Stanford. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion. I need a motion to suspend the rules and add Carlton Smith to the Groton Utility Commission. So I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Motion, Deputy Mayor Depot, second by Councilor Stanford. This is new. We have a long-term member, Paul Duart, has resigned. Between council experience and Groton Utility Commission experience, he's given us over 21 years. And so now he's decided that he's going to retire, and that leaves us with an opening. And as luck would have it, Carlton Smith has moved into the city and is now a resident of the city and wants to continue to give back. and has applied for the position. So I think all the council knows Carlton professionally. And if I remember correctly, you guys should have gotten some information today on Carlton. So Carlton, you want to take a couple minutes and
Sure. Thank you, Mayor, for bringing this to the council's attention. Welcome. Thank you, councilors, for meeting with me tonight. I think this is a good spot for me inside on the Utility Commission. I have a Bachelor of Science degree from UConn. I had 2 concentrations. One was in the water area. I got a certificate from Gateway Community College. I passed the Class 4 distribution test years ago. I had a P1 plumbing license for many years on there. I also was eligible to take the operator's test. Once I did that, at UConn, I went for allied health, which was OSHA training and safety. So, and I think with my position as the building official, previous position as the building official with the city of Groton, I understand process for the city. And I think I could be a large help to utilities to make sure process is caught early on so that we make sure that projects could move smoothly.
questions or comments for Carlton Smith? Councilor Stanford?
Mr. Smith, I want to just thank you for your continued service to the city of Groton after retiring from the city of Groton. I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you very much. It's a wonderful place to live. People should live there. I was very fortunate to find a house. It's in full renovations, by the way. New roof went last week. Floors are going in next week. HVAC in March.
Wow.
I want to reiterate, obviously, thank you very much. I know that the Utility Commission, to me, is one of the ones that is very helpful if you have a lot of technical knowledge. So I really appreciate someone who is already very informed. I know that we don't always understand everything, and Director Gaudet often has to go through the details because some of the stuff is very complicated, which obviously, I kind of like hearing the processes and how things work. It's interesting to find out how the water and electric works. But I really value the knowledge of everyone on the commission because I don't have a degree in utilities or anything that the utility does. So we really appreciate someone with as much experience volunteering. It's really important. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Anything else from the council? Okay, I need a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting of January 4th, 2021.
So
moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion from Councilor Stanford and a second from Deputy Mayor Depot. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to move to number 561, which is Groton Utilities Financials. This is informing. I'll turn it over to Finance Director Utilization.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going, Ron?
No,
Hi,
that was
Rob.
from yesterday or Saturday.
So we'll just run through these fairly quickly like we've been doing the past few months. We're through 5 months, just about to the halfway point. So we'll start with page 6, which is the electric division. And then row 25, total revenue. The budget's 23.4 million, and we're currently at 23.6. So 185,000 favorable. As there's been the same kind of story that we've seen the whole year since with COVID going in. The commercial is the one division that is kind of lacking behind, but the residential is doing fairly well above budget. So it's we're still seeing the same trend. Row 41, total operating expenses. The budget's 22.2, currently at 21.5 of actual, or just about 700,000 under budget. So row 52, net income from operations, budget of 1.1, and we're currently at 2 million, or just about a million favorable. So like looking at the whole picture, again, there is some divisions that are like lacking. The only one really is the commercial, but overall expenses are kind of staying in line and everything is looking favorable. So at this point, there's no concerns with the electric division.
Any questions or comments on electric? Okay, hearing none. Ron, go to water.
We'll flip to page 12. Row 21, the total revenue. Budget's just under 5 million. We're currently at 5.1, or 157,000 favorable. Again, you'll see the same here where the commercial is lacking a little bit under budget, with the industrial and residential being above budget. Row 30, total operating expenses, budget of 4.6, currently at 4.3, or 375 under budget from the expenses, mainly driven by the operation and maintenance, which is the big piece there. And then row 44, the net earnings before the drinking water state revolving fund grant. The budget was actually a negative 173,000. We're currently at 909,000, and same with the electric, about $1 million favorable currently from actual to budget.
Questions on water? Okay, seeing none. Sewer?
And we'll flip to page 17. Row 19, the total revenue, budget of 1.8, currently actual is about 2 million, so 246,000 favorable. Row 26, the total operating expenses, the budget of 1.5 million, currently at 1.2 million, or 338,000 favorable. The net income from operations, row 37, the budget amount was 156,000, currently at 790,000. So favorable is 634 to the budget. So again, all divisions are pretty much showing the same story, and no real concerns. And you can see, like I said, even in the revenue class here, mirrors the water. The commercial is a little bit below budget, and then as we talked about with the industrial is above just because of some deduct meter stuff.
Okay, questions on sewer? All right, that concludes the Groton Utilities budget presentation. We'll move to 690, which is city budget presentation. This is informing. Ron?
So this is November year to date. Again, same thing through the 5-month mark. There's a couple of line items that haven't quite hit here for the year with the health insurance, pension, OPEB. So either next month or the following month, you'll see kind of a big jump in the expenditures year to date. But currently from a departmental line item, everybody is in line as far as the November year to date versus budget. The only one that we've talked about in the past that is a little bit off is the general insurance, and that's just because of timing where those payments come in. A big chunk of those portions are due in July, so that's why that's at the 39%, but there's nothing to worry about there at this point. And then the same with the debt, just based on the timing of the debt payments, is why that's at the 54.48.
Questions on the city budget? While I got you here, Ron, where are we on the CAFR?
They're currently finishing up. We got all of our outstanding items. We had the GASB reports from the actuary. So Alexis was supposed to be out this week, but due to some circumstances, she's not able to, but she's still working on it. So we should be middle of the month to the end of January for the CAFR.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate that. Any other questions on the city budget? Okay, that's it. Thank you, Ron. We're going to move to 773, which is Parks and Recreation, Memorial Bench for Ruth and Alan Slonsky, Sr. I'll turn that over to Parks and Rec Director Mary Hill.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for letting me join in tonight's meeting. We're bringing to you another memorial bench of what needs to be placed at the beach. And the reason for me being at the meeting tonight is I know the last time we approved 3 benches, I had shared with the mayor and didn't attend the meeting that we're getting to the point where we're running out of space, lack of a better term. We have 4 pending benches. And then if we get this one approved, that will be 5. And we have 7 spots left at the beach for benches. Obviously, the beach is the location that people like their benches at. It's not per se the only place that benches can go for memorial benches. It seems to be the popular place. Once these are all approved and in place, we'll have 35 benches at the beach with 2 vacant ones or blank ones that we can still approve for somebody else to get. Obviously, we have the park. We have, Washington Park. We have locations that we can put benches at. We have Griswold Point. But I just wanted to make you all aware that, we have had a very strong uptick of memorial benches for the beach area after the April 2019 incident that took place. So I just want to make the council aware that we are going to look at there's other facets to the resolution in regards to memorials, and that is we can do memorial trees, and there's also talk about a memorial sidewalk around the flagpole at Eastern Point Beach that leads up to the sidewalk that leads up to the front steps of the Tyler House. So those are things that I'm going to kind of look into over the next course of probably 6 to 8 months, just so that we have areas that we can share with people in regards to where they can put memorial either still the sidewalk, the trees, and or the benches. So like I said, with this being in place, we would have 35 at the beach. We have 2 currently at Griswold Point. We probably have room for another 3 over there. I don't want to get it overcrowded. An option at Eastern Point Beach would be the north side of the Tyler House on the grassy area in front of the chain link fence if people are willing to put them there. But just trying to share with you some of the limitations we're going to have moving forward with memorial benches at the beach.
Questions or comments from Mary? Deputy Mayor Depot.
I just wanted to say, I know we've been discussing, and I usually ask every time how much space is left at the beach. I know that I wasn't aware before I was on council that you could even put a bench anywhere else. So I think maybe in the same way we got a lot of publicity for the incident at the beach, maybe we can push more publicity for the different locations, or maybe we can highlight. Maybe we could do like a Facebook post where we highlight the benches and then where other benches could go. That might be kind of neat for family members to see their bench or their loved one highlighted in a memoriam, kind of maybe like once a month or once a week or something we could do, and then add publicity for, hey, you could get a bench or memorial tree. I think memorial trees would be cool also because everyone loves trees. And just kind of push that way just for information, because I think people aren't necessarily aware that you could get them in other places like Washington Park. Maybe we could put some there or wherever.
Yeah, I agree. I think we definitely have to, obviously promote this, but also promote the fact that it's not limited to the beach area. We have other areas of parks and facilities, and it does say general parks and recreation areas and facilities in the resolution. Unfortunately, the resolution was approved in 2005, so it's one of those things that's been around for 15 years, and not a whole lot of people know about it. So yeah, we could definitely kind of promote. And I think if we decide to do it the sidewalk around the flagpole, I'd have to build that out and have it in place so then people could ask about it. Well, what's this for? And we could share. Well, you could do a memorial stone for your loved one if you want here at the sidewalk. So I think there's definitely ways to promote it.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Mary? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to move this to mayor and council of January 4th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion by Deputy Mayor Depot and Counselor Stanford. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. All right, what's number 5? Number 5 is going to be 742, which is Groton Utilities. And the first thing is the Wright Pierce Environmental Engineering Firm. I'll turn that over to Director Gaudet.
The first item that I'm going to talk to you tonight is we went out to bid for a master service agreement for environmental water and wastewater services. We received 4 bids. We had a award committee that had 5 people: Rick Stevens, Ray Valentini, Carl Asimovic, Mike Weber, and Joe Pratt. And the high score for the bid was Wright Pierce Environmental Engineering. And the goal is, we came to you several months back and did a master service agreement for another company for electric. What this does is it creates a base contract and pricing arrangement, but does not authorize spends. All spending and all projects will actually come through Utility Commission and Council to be approved as they go, and they'll be approved individually. But Wright Pierce is being recommended to enter into a service agreement with the city.
Any questions for the director? Deputy Mayor Depot.
Can you give maybe like a high level overview of what kinds of services this, because what you're saying is anything we need in a specific lane we'll get from this vendor now, instead of bidding every time for those services or having to check with multiple vendors for what their pricing is. We're going to enter a contract so that we can get preferred pricing from this one vendor for the next 5 years, if I'm understanding it right. So can you give some examples of what kind of services we're going to be getting from this vendor?
Yes, it's basically water and wastewater engineering services, and it could drift into like civil engineering, even for pipe installation. Currently, we're looking at redoing the intakes to the filtration plant to help prevent eels from entering the system, and also replace some of the traveling screens that prevent trash and other debris from entering into the system, as well as recirculate some water. So it's basically engineering services for anything water related.
Okay, thank you.
Any
Hi,
other?
Ron.
Okay, Councilor Sheffield.
Yeah, Ron, how you doing? 5 years is, do you think that's, I mean, what could happen, let's say if a bid didn't go through, it isn't agreed upon, that's, the right way, are we held hostage for that 5 years, or can we look outward? Are we locked in for that 5 years just in case something, goes wrong and we need to find somebody else? How does that affect?
That's a really good question, and welcome back.
Thank you.
That's a really good question. We are not bound to use this master service agreement for every single project whatsoever. It does allow us to enter into an agreement so that we can use their services. However, for extremely large projects or things that maybe we just think it's appropriate to get multiple bids, we certainly still can, and we'll always be doing price checking against the preferred pricing that they're offering. Very good question.
Because my concern would be what if they don't accept our offer? What's our what's our remedy for that if, if it's not acceptable on their terms for a specific pricing.
Yeah, we can definitely go out to more vendors. Additionally, the utility in the city is actually looking at other additional possible service agreements that will all depend on a firm's basic specialty.
Okay. My next question is, when I looked at this ordinance, where it says the master service agreement for mostly water and wastewater services, you did say they may do other things. Are they going to be more defined that we can know exactly what they're responsible to do as far as their servicing? Say, hopefully they don't branch off into like electrical or something like that. Is that something else that they're qualified to do, or we need to just narrow it to water and wastewater engineering services?
Well, we wanted to leave the contract a little bit general, just in case, let's say, Public Works needed a hand or something, and Wright Pierce happened to be able to deal with that kind of drainage situation. We thought that leaving the door a little bit open there might be helpful for the city. And I can't think of an electrical situation where we would use them, but it could be, let's say it's we're digging up and we're installing a conduit across a bridge or something. I'm making something up. And the civil engineering services of Wright Pierce would be better fitted than an electrical specialty firm. It could fit in that kind of a situation, but it's basically more civil engineering and environmental engineering.
Hey, Ron, the BHI Master Services Agreement we just did, what's that primarily for? Is that electric?
That's primarily electric. However, it could be used if their specialty fits in any of the groups.
So I want to bring that up to answer Councilor Sheffield's question, that we have a master services agreement with another firm that is primarily electric, that's BHI. So these, that's basically their swim lane. And then the Wright Pierce would have their swim lane. We'd mostly use them for that. What I've seen done in the past is this is like a preferred vendors list. So instead of having to go out and get the contracts every single time, which can be take a lot of time and sometimes be costly, this we've already previewed them up front. We can go straight to them. It doesn't mean that we have to use them exclusively. Like Ron said, we can go out. For example, if it's a large contract, and I don't know what the definition of large is, what that threshold would be, but we probably still want to go out and maybe get some other bids. But what this does is it allows us to quickly turn around some projects, have a reasonable expectation of what the price is going to be. Plus, if you have a relationship with a vendor, then sometimes you get a better quality product in the long run because they've been working with you and they know the people, they know the buildings, the property, everything else that they're working with. So does that answer your question a little more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions for Ron on the Wright Pierce environmental? Okay. Let me see. Oh, seeing none, I need a motion to move this to mayor and council meeting of January 4th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion by Deputy Mayor Crowe and a second by Councilor Sheffield. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, the next item is SCADA system upgrade. Ron?
The filtration plant has a radio system that sends data from each of the water pump stations to other water pump stations and centralizes it all in the computer control system at the filtration plant. It consists of about 20 radios, and they all run these new radios that we'll be purchasing with this through Woodard and Curran, all run on the same FCC licensed channels for the filtration plant. And the award to Woodard and Curran is sole sourced because Woodard and Curran currently is the vendor that deals with our SCADA system for the filtration plant.
Okay,
Did I
any
say?
questions regarding SCADA? Deputy Mayor Depot.
It's not marked on here whether this is approved budget or, you know, the boxes down here that are usually checked.
Yes, it was actually approved non-bonded capital project for about just over this amount. We're under it by about 10,000, what the budget line was.
So, but this was already included in the budget as a capital project.
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this SCADA system upgrade? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting of January 4th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Okay, who moved it? Councilor Stanford?
Yeah.
Okay, Councilor Stanford moved it. Deputy Mayor Depot, second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay, thank you, Ron. The next one is 777 Visioning Themes Center, and that is with Sierra Patrick. And she is sharing her screen.
Hello, good evening, Commissioner or Councilman and women. Happy holidays to everyone, and thank you for your time this evening. So today I am presenting to you visioning a project I just titled Visioning Themes Center. So the Department of Planning and Economic Development seek to collaborate with stakeholders in a series of visioning exercises to help us identify and implement some temporary improvements to streetscape, public space within the Thames Center area. Now, this effort is building upon the Thames River Reconnection Project and that Thames Street Promenade report that was done back in 2019. The consultants provided 2 recommendations. They provided 4 recommendations, but 2 of which, the first 2, we would like to move forward in this initiative. I look at the Thames Street Promenade report as a really high level analysis of what the city of Groton needs to start to think about as we revitalize Thames Street. And then this approach would be a more hands-on exercise and deep dive into really starting to understand some of the dynamics and other little forces that all kind of encompass the economy and the community down there. So the 2 recommendations we'll be moving forward is to leverage Thames Center to maximize its value as a walkable historic coastal village, and also to enhance the waterfront to become an amenity that can draw people to Thames Street. So for our focus area, it's about a half-mile stretch of Thames Street from Broad Street to Baker Ave. Our objectives with this effort would be to activate the waterfront. We also like to expand the city's approach to public participation in the planning process. We would like to develop placemaking designs and implementation plans for a summer through fall 2021 installment. We also like to collaborate with community stakeholders in identifying and programming underutilized space. We also really seeking to establish a more pedestrian-friendly environment in the Thames Center area. And we also want to celebrate our mixed culture, economic, and historic assets. A couple months ago, Planning and Economic Department applied for the 2020 Preservation Connecticut Vibrance Community Grant, and we were awarded $25,000 from them with a match from the city of Groton for $5,000. The department would like to utilize those funds to hire a consultant to help us with project management, the engagement with community stakeholders, with a series of these 4 visioning workshops. We also like to actually develop the placemaking designs, propose some pilot projects, also some pop-up events to help us engage with the community more. Also identify elements that contribute to the historic. So Thames Center is a part of the Groton Historic District, or Groton Heights. It has kind of 2 joining names that associate with itself, but we really wanted to start to identify the character and the elements of that historic district and start to bring it out within our plans as we move forward. We also wanted to identify some locations that are desirable for public art, develop metrics of success to inform our stakeholders on the validity of these efforts, create some inspirational graphics that help the community visualize, propose some implementation timeframes, some short-term. We're looking for short-term, high-impact, achievable projects. We really want to gauge for a we're going into 2021. So it's how can we create an outdoor space for our summer through fall season and really revamp our waterfront to kind of help people in during this time and moving forward. And then also to help us develop an action plan and a budget for those set implementations. Some project partners for this will be the Economic Development Commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission, CT Main Streets, Southeastern Cultural Coalition, Thames River Heritage Park, and Thames River Innovation Place. There are a couple more parties that have reached out, or I have reached out to, that have shown some interest. So I'll be keeping you guys informed as whether or not they're going to join in with us on this effort. This effort, I believe, also complements the work that Southeastern Council of Governments is doing with the J-less parking study. It also complements the coastal resiliency work, our strategic communications initiative. Also, the Department of Planning and Economic Development is also looking to do a pedestrian and bicycle network assessment, and also do more planning for the Thames View Park improvements. All of which this Visioning Thames Center will help feed us, will help us collect the type of data and really collaborate with the community on what this space should look like and kind of what that design needs to incorporate, like what are the community needs that we need to incorporate into that. So our department requests are, I guess, to move forward the resolution to accept the 2020 Preservation CT Communities Award, and also permission to engage in preliminary discussions with a consultant that we have worked with before and that's familiar with the city's goals and processes. And Mayor, that's I guess, any questions?
Okay. Council, questions for Sierra Patrick?
I have a question, Councilor Carter. Can you hear me?
Hey, Councilor Carter, you have the floor.
Okay. Hey, good job, Sierra. You can really see the passion that you have within the city. You know, that's commendable. I applaud you. My question is this: is there a way to, because I know we want to reach out to the other, utilize that money for consultants, right? But is there any way, I know it's still the COVID time or whatever, is there any way to get like some type of like community involvement, like an assessment to see what the needs are for the residents of the city, like what they would like, and then we could take that to the consultants and see if it's feasible to do, rather than kind of have an outside agency kind of assess our needs for us. Is there a way to like I said, I know the capabilities right now are kind of minimal, but is there a way to kind of like reach out to our citizens just to see what would you like, down on the waterfront?
Like to just conduct our own survey or just outreach,
Yeah, yeah.
or like initial outreach.
So for instance, I was I am a lifelong resident of Groton. Obviously, I grew up in the town though, right? And one thing that you hear from people is that when you like for instance, so the senior citizen, and I know we're not the town, but for instance, the senior citizens location in Groton, right? When they invested money into that years ago, I remember one of the things that people were saying was like, "Oh, that's also it's awesome, but we also need a community center for the youth, And then we're like, right, that's something that it seemed like kind of just happened where they didn't really ask the residents, Like I would hate to implement and put something down there just to have the residents say, all right, well, maybe we could have did like a boardwalk or we could have did something else. Is there a way to like just kind of not to have the residents pick, but just to kind of throw out ideas so we can bring that to those outside agencies that we hire to kind of, just see if any of that stuff's feasible?
So the visioning exercise is, I guess, the visioning exercise is supposed to be that effort. And I thought it would be good for us to have a third party involved with us in the creation of those plans so that we can really filter through and receive all the feedback from the community members and then start to gauge, start to incorporate that into the design. Whether or not, I think staff does need some support in doing that, and I see a benefit in having a third party helping. And as far as the design, the whole workshop, the workshops are desired to be designed so that the community members can, not that they're picking, but they can share those visions with us and we can really incorporate it.
Yeah. Well, that's what, that was my question. I guess I was unclear to what the outside third party is. I'm in absolute agreement with the third party involvement of it. I just wanted to, it was more of a question of, okay, is there a way to implement, what residents want with the third party? But you just answered that, so, okay, that's cool.
Well, and let me step in because I share your concern in that I don't want somebody coming in telling us what we want as much as engaging in the community, getting ideas from the community, and then helping us achieve that end result based on experience that they may bring with them. So when Sierra talked to me about this, it was getting a third party involved, but the third party was going to be involving the communication or community rather through maybe a series of workshops or questionnaires or somehow so that we can get recommendations from people who live down there, people who have lived here all their lives, or maybe even from people who haven't lived here that long but have visions of what they would like to see. So I do think some of what you were asking for is going to be part of this. Is that not right, Sierra?
That is correct. And to add to it, the other element of this initiative is to try to connect with the community in multiple different ways. So to build upon our virtual meetings, but then to also maybe take those to on-site outdoor meetings as we're going through this time to really figure out the best ways and times to engage with the community and create these welcoming experiences where we can share our stories and love for the city.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, That was my question, and you answered it. This, when you first presented, it was a little unclear, so I was basically just asking, was there going to be community involvement, and you answered it, so I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Okay, good. Deputy Mayor Depot?
Sorry, I was muted. I know that we just hired, or we just authorized the hiring of Miranda Creative as a consultant, right?
That's correct.
Is she going to be a part of this project as well? Are they going to be working together to, how is that going to work?
They are going to coordinate with communication. So Miranda, the consultant, will prepare all the material that will be needed for Thames, visiting Thames Center, and then we would share and feed that information into that communications plan so we can start to roll it out. It will be like one of the elements of information that we can use to really help roll that communications plan forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other thing I wanted to say is I'm really glad that we are pushing this project forward. I know it's got to be difficult with coronavirus restrictions. Anything having to do with the community is kind of difficult because everyone's stuck. But I know you were saying you're looking at a timeline for summer and fall of 2021. And I think this summer and fall, people are going to be desperate to do things outside. So whatever we can do to keep this on track, I think is really important because it can be a major boon for our area if we can draw people to Groton and to Thames Street when people are desperately looking for stuff to do. So I just wanted to say, thank you for your hard work, and whatever we can do, I feel like, to push that timeline to make sure that we have things available when people are going to be looking for them would be great.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
Keith,
Sir Sheffield?
how you doing?
Yeah.
Where does the tax incremental financing plan of a couple of years ago fall into what we're trying to do now with this new proposal? It looks like, is that still part of the whole Groton thing where Thames Street was going to be part of the TIF project that was discussed a couple of years ago? Is that still part of something that's going to be happening in Groton down the line, or is that something that isn't really moving forward, in part maybe due to the pandemic? So I wasn't sure if anybody's,
So TIF is still intact,
okay.
and this initiative helps with the TIF master plan. So as time goes and the fund builds, the city needs to have a plan of what they want that district to start to look like. And so this takes a half a mile segment of that TIF district, so from Broad Street to Baker Street on Thames Street, of what that space should look like. And hopefully this approach to planning, this approach to the public participation, the department is really hoping that we can do this in other segments of the TIF district so that we can build upon that plan and also do some updates to our plan, our POCD, as we start to really kind of work through the exercises, the studies, and really incorporating everything together. So yes, the TIF is definitely still intact, and this is just helping guide the direction of that master plan further.
My next question would be, this first $25,000, will this, how long will this go to where there could be another proposal down the line, or is this something that we hope will be the blueprint, I guess, to where we could do it ourselves after the consultant, lays down the foundation, if you will?
Yes, so at the conclusion of this, we will have a blueprint of what type of programming and pop-ups and any small improvements that we need to make within Thames Street. And then I am pursuing another grant fund to actually help us with the implementation portion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from council? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting of January 4th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion for Deputy Mayor Depot and second from Councilor Sheffield. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. All right, the next thing is 748 donation request.
Mayor,
Second,
I just had a
Sarah,
quick,
did you have something else? Go ahead.
I just had a quick question. Does that grant me permission to start preliminary discussions with, like I can move forward with that?
No,
No? Okay.
what this does is it moves this initiative to the mayor and council meeting.
Okay.
Where they will vote, the council will then vote to approve the authorization to expend funds. So we do not have authorization to expend funds until possibly next Monday. So don't enter into any agreements until, or do anything until such time that expenditure of funds has been authorized, because that could get us in a bad situation. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for clarification.
All right. Not a problem. Where am I? We were at 748 donation request to the Friends of Fort Griswold Battlefield. They were asking for $500. One of the things that we put into place a couple years ago is that when the city gets a request, we contact Dan Bogue of Groton Utilities to see if they've been requests for the same thing. In this particular case, they were not, but what Dan would like to do is they're asking for $500. Dan wants to donate $1,000. It'll come from GU, but it'll come from GU on the behalf of the city of Groton and Groton Utilities. That way, they'll get the amount of money they asked for plus more. So the $1,000 will help them because this year is a celebration year. I forget the number, but so this is more informed than it is asking you to. Okay, now that I've said that, questions from the council. Deputy Mayor Depot.
So basically, instead of expending our charitable funds, which we have a much more limited amount than the utility, they're going to get a donation on behalf of us, but it's going to come from the utilities donation fund instead of ours.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's a much better
Sounds good
way
to
of
me.
putting it. That's a better way of putting it than I said it, but it's more succinct. Any questions or comments from the council on this? Okay, we'll move on. And the last thing is 778, retirement of Tim Humphries. Tim is retiring effective 11 February, but for all intents and purposes, his last day will be 31 December. Tim has spent over 40 years here. He started out on the back of a garbage truck, and he has worked his way up. And there is nobody that knows the city of Groton like Tim does. So he is going to be missed. We have, we put out one requisition. We got 3 responses. We're evaluating those responses, but we put out another requisition and tried to target that to people with municipality experience. And so we are looking for someone to replace the position of Public Works Director. We are actively looking for that. So, and with that, I will need a motion to move, because the council has to accept his retirement. A motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting of January 4th, 2021.
So move.
Second.
Where'd I get? Okay, moved by Counselor Sheffield, seconded by Counselor Stanford. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, Council Carter does, but I guess I'll speak next week. I was gonna say I reluctantly approve his resignation. I worked for him as a teenager, and he's great. We're not gonna find anybody to replace the likeness of him. So,
No, you're
but
not.
I would say I'll just talk next week when you finally approve it.
Okay,
When we finally
thank
approve
you.
it.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, now I need a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 106 Alpha to discuss personnel, police department to include the council, the mayor, Chief Spellman, and the applicant. Chief, is there anybody else that you want there?
I'm going to have Lieutenant Brucker in as well. He was part of the hiring process.
Okay, and Lieutenant Brucker in the executive session. So I need a motion.
So moved.
So move. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Deputy Mayor Depot and a second by Councilor Sheffield. We are in executive session. Okay, so I have no comments from executive session. I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Councilor Sheffield, second by Deputy Mayor Depot. And let's see. Are there, no, it's not available. Sorry. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming out. Thanks.
Thanks,
For,
good night.
Have a nice
we had a
evening.
great Christmas and
Okay.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
See you in January.
Take care.
Thank you all.